When people think of world-class players, mostly strikers are the ones they think of first. Strikers are shiny and popular because of their outstanding goals and spectacular skills. But what the football community often forgets is that it needs players behind the strikers that are reliable and resemble pillars so that the strikers can do their job and attack. One of these so-called pillars I'm going to talk about today is Tabito Karasu, Blue Lock's heart and engine. Karasu is a contender of Blue Lock who was first introduced in chapter 93 as ranked 3rd during the 3rd selection and later played as a defensive midfielder in the match between Blue Lock 11 and the Japan U20 team. During the 3rd selection, Karasu teamed up with Otoya as Team B's leaders, and in the first match between Team A and B, it was shown very early in the game that Karasu is a player who likes to take control of the game and be responsible for the flow of his team, as he analyzes his opponents before and during a game. Karasu has a very punishing and analytical playstyle, which fits Karasu's personality. He in general can be described as a person who tends to look down on people he finds mediocre or mentally weak. Through his analyzing, Karasu is able to produce chemical reactions with those around him, and furthermore he is a very intelligent person, which also fits his playstyle of punishing people's weak spots and mistakes. One example is his overwhelming feint he can use by shifting his center of gravity, which he used to get past Shido and Izagi in a 2v1 situation, followed with a goal from Karasu to score the 1-1 equalizer for his team. His ball possession and masterful feint techniques in midfield got him the nickname Assassin. Hayori actually pointed those traits and skills of Karasu out and always told Izagi that he knows Karasu very well, since they both played in the same youth team in Kansai, which is something I will come back to later in the video. Nevertheless, off the ball, Karasu is also a very strong and a troublesome defensive midfielder for his opponents. He's able to figure out his opponent's playstyles very quickly and can therefore adjust his defensive patterns to it. Also, his chemistry with Otoya is on a different level. With Otoya's stealthy steps, Karasu and Otoya managed to get through the 2nd selection without any problems. Hayori also mentioned that their offensive strategy is one of the most well polished in whole Blue Lock, which is very impressive considering the many talented players and combinations in Blue Lock. Karasu also always has the eye to look for his teammates on the rings, like for example when he saw and assisted Jigiri with a crossfield pass. Obviously, like everyone, Karasu also has some weaknesses. His high intelligence and cockiness can quickly result into him underestimating his opponents, and this was also the case in the A vs B match when he didn't take Izagi serious and consistently called him Mr. Ordinary. Izagi used Karasu's cockiness at one point to his own advantage and was able to steal the ball off him while he was fighting against Rin. The upfollowing counterattack was then perfectly played by Izagi and Team A, and Rin scored the 4-4 equalizer in the end, which wouldn't have happened if Karasu took Izagi seriously from the beginning. During the match against the U20 of Japan, Karasu had a special role. Ego planned with Karasu as a sweeper in a 3-6-1 system, a CDM that falls back in defense as a back 3 when needed. Ego wanted to play a more offensive team, since all of his players in the team are used to play as strikers, and Karasu consistently structured the team, especially in the back, and was a huge help to Nico and Ariu with his commands. Karasu was also the one to start counterattacks for his team whenever they were in possession of the ball after stealing it from the U20. In the recent chapters, Karasu also was shown as a kind of mentor figure to Hayori, who's trying to keep his motivation alive. And Karasu quickly realized back then that although Hayori is well talented, there's something holding him off. According to Karasu, Hayori is missing the passion for football that is needed to become a pro. He also recommended him to find something that gets his blood pumped, a purpose for example, or a reason of why Hayori would play football in the first place. And we know that Hayori only started to play football because of his parents and not because he personally wanted to. And as long as Hayori doesn't want to play football for himself, he won't be able to become world class. And I'm sure that Hayori will find his true purpose, his true fire in the match against PXG, where he will have to play against Karasu. We also know that Karasu currently has a market value of 10 million yen and an offer from PXG with one more game to play than others like Izagi, Bao and Nagi for example, who already got an updated market value. I'm sure Karasu will be among the top 10 players in the end, and it will be interesting to see which club he will join in the future. I'm actually surprised that he didn't decide to join Basel Munich, since the thought of most logical place would have suited his playstyle a lot. Alright, so what do you think about Karasu? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, stay safe and have a nice day.